Welcome to Brands Hatch in the last of the World Touring Car Cup. This is the European segment, so there's going to be 7 tracks in total. We're starting off at Brands Hatch in position 12, getting a great launch off the line, and we have nowhere to use that momentum as we get a little bit of bottlenecked. Not a problem, we have 6 laps in total, so we start feeling our way through. Give it a bit of TCR elbow if need be. I'm not going to hurt anybody per se. What is kind of funny is how all the AI cars are staying 2 abreast. It's literally like a pure tandem of cyclists. Okay, let's start edging our way through. There we go. It's more about finding a hole and sticking your car through it. The AI will semi-move out of the way, or they'll attack you. It's one or the other. I've had both. But Astra seems to be doing rather well, so there's a Golf up in front. I mean, we made a few places up to now, to P7, which is quite ideal. 7 places more to go, and I'm not too sure what's leading the pack at the moment. There's an Elantra up there, and I think there's a Lavorg. Yeah, it's actually unusual to see a Lavorg leading the charge. Get caught up a bit behind the Falcon livery Golf, which is actually a really nice livery, I've got to be honest. There is a few things I'd like to point out during the course of these races about the AI. The first one obviously is there's no BOP in the career mode. For example, the Lavorg is winning. So in other words, what might be the fastest in online races certainly may not be here. The rest we'll go into a little bit later on. Having a great old move up the inside of the Elantra and the Peugeot, having to rub a bit of grass as the AI is not one to give a lot of space or, you know, move over. They'll happily push you into the lawn. And once we had the run, we was right up behind the Lavorg up in front. And hopefully we're going to be able to make a move very shortly up the inside of Lavorg. Again, this corner is ideal actually to make a move because the AI gets a bit unsure of itself whether to commit or not. You can see how heavily it's backed off to just let us through. And then from there on in, the AI just pretty much back off. There's no more competition. I mean, I don't know where everybody else is behind the Lavorg, but it's certainly not behind the Lavorg. And it goes to show, because we're on the last lap now, we are miles ahead of position 2, which is not massively ideal. Well, you could argue, yes, I'm on level 7 difficulty, but we're going to go finish this race, cross that line. How far ahead were we in total? 9 seconds, there you go. Also, we're a second and a half a lap faster than the AI cars, which is pretty cool to be honest. Let's set the difficulty to 8 maximum, and obviously expert rules are still on, so damage is a thing, so we do have to be mindful of that. Again, getting a massive launch off the line of Catalunya. Just blowing past everybody, waving them goodbye. There's not much else we can do. Flooring these places, which is absolutely crazy. Leads me on to the next point really, and I think this is where another problem lies. The AI are on medium tyres. We are on soft tyres, so obviously we're going to get a far better launch off the line, going to have far better handling, and the AI can't compete with that. I am not sure why the settings are for the AI to go on medium tyres. It is a short length race technically, and the tyre wear is down to 1 times. So yeah, I would have thought generically it would have picked soft tyres, but nope, wasn't the case. And I've got to be honest, I don't think even if we picked medium tyres we would be any really worse off. While we are elbowing our way through, we're up to position 4. Yeah, nope, take that back, position 3. Although we do have the Audi up the inside, who is actually aggressively battling us back, which is kind of nice to see. And then suddenly backs out because contact has been made. 2 Lavorgs leading the stint again, which is, like, it's nice to see. It really is nice to see a Lavorg leading the charge again. It has been such a long time. Not joking though, these cars are really quick when they're not BOP'd. Like, insanely quick. The only thing that slows them down is the AI's funkiness of randomly braking mid-corner or in a straight line, which is kind of weird. I think a lot of it is down to collision-based proximity around the AI cars, where you get a bit close to them and they freak out a little bit. You don't see it all too much at this track, but other tracks it is pretty in your face. Just pretty much scraping our way through that poor Lavore there, getting a 0.5 second penalty. Sort of whatever really, isn't it? It's not going to really matter all that much. It doesn't affect your driver rating. But we are 0.8 seconds away from just purple up in front. If all goes well, it shouldn't take us too long to catch them up. We just need to make sure we nail these corners absolutely perfectly. 0.5 seconds away now. We're going to be in the slipstream, so reel them in ever so quickly. And I think this is where you'll notice the tyre differences, where the AI, it just can't corner the way we can corner with the soft tyres. So we're going to have the inside line. Well, I was going to. We still are. There we go. Have the inside line of this section here. A little bit of contact with the AI car on the outside, but ultimately they pretty much back out. I was trying to find where they were in the mirror because the radar's not turned on. I didn't want to cut them off the track. Yeah, it didn't really matter too much, did it? They are now 0.5 seconds away, so that's made the penalty negligible. Coming through this section here, the AI is a little bit slow through there, and we are now 0.7 seconds away. And then the pattern of the first race comes back to haunt us. We are breaking away even further, and then even further after that as we cross the line with a 7-second lead. Absolutely insane, but things are going to change here. And this is where point number 3 is going to be made. The AI is better at certain tracks than other tracks. As you saw in the first 2 races, we massively dominated. It was unreal. You know, don't get me wrong, first race, the AI were difficulty level 7. Second race, they were maxed out. And we're still 7 seconds ahead. This race was very, very different. Now, don't get me wrong, we didn't have the best of launches off the line like we did in the first 2 races. We're actually getting caught up in a lot of traffic as everybody's still staying 2 abreast for the first lap. Now things have opened up a little bit. Slipstream is going to be our friend here. Hopefully start reeling in the MGs and the Lavores up ahead. I mean, up to P8 now, which is much better than what it was a minute ago. But coming into the first braking zone and almost locking on the brakes. Down second gear and everybody starts getting a little bit tangled with each other. Unsure where to go, hang it around the outside, a little bit of contact, but well, made it work, which is ideal to be honest. Not too sure why the lights in the MG are flickering, whether that's a graphic related bug or not. Thank you ever so much. Oh my gosh, there we go. Well, we made it out to the side. See what I mean? The AI can be a little bit feisty at times, but there we go. We're up to P5. Overtaking Dog CN in the Lavorgs there. Coming around this corner, pretty much flat out. Where's that Lavorg? Oh, they're behind us, that's fine. It sounded like there were 2 our left hand side there, so I kind of played a little bit hesitant. But we have a Lavorg in front of us, and who is in front of that? An Elantra, steady, off on the track limits there. No penalty was awarded. I think the penalty system is a little bit more forgiving offline than it is online. Although the settings are the same, I think it calculates better. Heading back to point 3, it took us a full 4 laps to be able to catch up to the Wolfpack that was up in front. Whilst we was catching up to this Wolfpack here, we was also catching up to the leader of the race, because the leader of the race was 6 seconds away. Now they are only 3. Point 3 was about how AI are different as different tracks. This track here, the AI are very, very quick. And like I say, we did struggle to keep up with them or even catch up to them. Other tracks, as you saw, the AI were absolutely useless. And it's really weird, don't get me wrong, yes, we have the long runs here. We have the sharp corners where the AI usually freak out, don't know what to do. That was not the case. The AI were on it in this track. And you got the Lavore leading the charge, a Vauxhall Astra P2, Elantra P3. Having a little bit of a kiss with the Elantra, not the Elantra, yeah, it is an Elantra, to our left hand side, and ultimately not having as good as a run as they did. Braking's still a thing though, when you get too close to them. You see the other 2 cars in front didn't brake, that one did. So again, I think it's a proximity thing where it freaks out thinking you're going to go up the inside, so it backs out to give you space, but we're not in that region to do so. So that's just a coding error, I would say. what isn't an error is how them two are that quick up in front. Yes, we're now 2.6 away, 2.5 away from position 1, but we are on it trying to catch up to them, and this really is proving to be difficult. And it would be nice if they were like this in all of the tracks, but yeah, this was one of the outliers when AI were just slapping us around and showing us, you know what, you had it the first 2 times, you're not having it this time. Thankfully though, being on the point system is not going to affect our racing segment overall, because we're going to go head over to Mugello. Like all the races, we're starting off in P12, making a move up the inside here, getting a hell of a run off the line. Audi moves over to the right and says, you know what, you're not having that run, I'm going to destroy your speed, which is fair enough. You know, I'm not going to argue with that, but the Audi did back off and away we go up to P11. Going to hang it around the outside of the Audi to our right. Hopefully we'll be able to make the inside of this next corner, give it a really good old cut there, make sure we stay within the track limits, and hopefully gain a few more places by just really exploring the corners more so than usual. Getting pushed into the grass here, thank you, that's really appreciative. Space is not awarded in said corners, so we're going to just barrel our way through there, show them a bit of taste of their own medicine, and didn't get a penalty for that, which is really nice to see. Coming down here, we're up to P5 already, and not too sure why the link decided to break ever so slightly, but they did manage to break a little bit more for us. There we go. So yeah, this is one of the tracks where braking is a bit of an issue. Clearly is not affecting position 1, who is now 2.6 seconds ahead, and we gain a 0.5 second penalty for whatever happened back there. Oh well, it is what it is. Coming out of this section, the AI cars are over a second behind us, and position 1 is now 2.9 seconds ahead, which is not ideal, and getting a little bit further as we totally butcher up this corner here. Not ideal. Hopefully we'll be able to actually catch him up on the run. Not too sure. I think the Lavore might be a little bit quicker in a straight line than this Honda Civic. And it goes to show, lap 3, we are now only 1.1 second away from them. While the AI cars behind have found, I don't know, some mojo, whatever, but 0.6 seconds away. We have been nailing this car, trying to catch up to position 1, and position 2 is right up our tail. Really came out of nowhere. It soon dropped off though. They're now 1.8 seconds away behind us, so they had that moment and gave up, to be honest. We have caught up to position 1 up in front, but we're coming to the end of this race here, and I don't think we're going to be able to gain that position. Never mind, we got the 0.5 second penalty, so if I do manage to overtake, I've still got to be 0.5 seconds ahead of them. Yeah, not ideal, but it does reinforce point 3 I made earlier, where the AI is far better at certain tracks than they are at others, which is really, really terrible. Thing is, things are going to change. As we enter our next race, we are all going to be on a level playing field to a certain degree, because we're going to head over to Nürburgring. The weather is going to be wet, so we're all going to be on the same tyre compound, which is wet tyres. I think it's kind of fair that we all do have a place of a level playing field. Forgetting that torque steer is a thing, because the hands were on the steering wheel. Starting off the race again in position 12, gaining 1 position already, which is really kind of funny. Braking far later than everybody else into turn 1, gaining a monumental amount of positions. 3, but it's still better than 0. Would like to point out one thing though. The Lavore isn't good in the wet. The AI cars have qualifying times, and position 1 is being led by an Audi. The Lavores are in position 5 and 6-ish. So the Lavore is better in career mode on a dry track, and the Audis and the Elantras are better on wet tracks, which I think is kind of great to see, to be honest, because I know the Lavore can be a little bit tail happy at times. It's certainly a different type of car, and it's nice to see those differences actually are computed to a certain degree within the game engine itself, which is going to kind of lead me on to a 4th point where the AI don't really attack back. Although side by side. A little bit of contact here and there does happen. I think there's more clumsiness rather than making a point or gaining a position. AI, once you've overtaken, just don't really care. They pretty much surrender and then back off after that. I mean, right now they're 1.1 second away. That's absolutely insane. Well, yes, we did scrape our way through in a bit of a naughty manner, but they braked and then surrendered, and they're backing off even further. And it's really a shame because we was in the wrong. Like, you know, we sent it up the inside, scraped through the door, and they should have pretty much kept attacking back to a certain degree. But now you can see them, they're long gone in the rearview mirror. It did take us 2 laps to catch up to position 1 and 2, which is the Audi and the Golf, although the Golf went very slowly through that section there and ended up giving a little bit of kiss at the rear end. I'm sure they're really pleased about that. We might have to run here. No, they've definitely had a better corner exit than we did. But we're going to have them in the first corner though, because we could brake a little bit later and pretty much cover that corner off. It's not like they've even got the option to defend, as we are already side by side with them. So yeah, they are pretty much screwed for this corner while we have set position. A little bit of contact there, but they turned in and I was still braking, so I didn't have no option to turn in. We do actually eventually catch up to the Audi in front. It took us the rest of that lap to do so, and again we're going to have the Audi in this braking zone here, braking just before the 100 board, really hard on the brakes, cutting that corner in. There we go. And to be fair, they give plenty of space, but after that it's easy to drop them. So it takes you forever to catch them up, but once you're in front, it's so easy to break away from them. Bearing in mind though, we do have a 0.8 second penalty for an off track. Yeah, we have to bear that one in mind as we try and break away. I mean, 1.4 seconds now, 1.5. Yeah, it just, where's that pace gone? It's really frustrating for that manner alone, but not grumbling too much. 3 seconds ahead as we cross the line. Gain that position 1, going to gain the points as well for the championship. And over to Silverstone, which is a dry track, so we're going to be back on soft tyres. Everybody else is going to be back on mediums. That car forgot to start the race. You do see it in online racing, so I'm not going to criticize the AI for that one. It is pretty common in online racing. So yeah, there's definitely a learning thing there, not going to lie. So we're feeling our way through, looking for a way to make a move, but as always, lap 1 is everybody's 2 abreast for pretty much the duration of that first lap, which is really cool to see, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's too clinical, if you get what I mean. It's not really there. I mean, the Civic can move over to the right. They're not. They're staying to the left of the Lavore. There's just no need, because you're not at an advantage in the braking zone. Although contact has been made, I'm probably going to get blamed for that one. I am not. Oh, there we go. Cool. Up the inside of these 2 we go, and out of the corner in position 1. Got P1 by the middle of the first lap. I wouldn't even say it's middle, it's probably even earlier than that. Yeah. Granted though, 2 of them were scraped our way through, so yeah, things could have been a bit cleaner. Pretty much like that corner there. Could have been better, but it is what it is, and we're now 0.6 seconds ahead of the AI cars behind, which is absolutely insane. And it's one of those tracks, this one here, where the AI is just not on it. You know, whether it's because of the wide corners or the high speed corners, the AI just can't keep that momentum going. But we can, because we can understand how to use the momentum through the corners. But now we're almost 4 seconds ahead, coming up to the end of this stint as well. And it's such a shame, because P2 is 4 seconds away almost, P3 5 seconds, P4 6 seconds, so everybody's a second interval, which leads me on to another point. The AI don't battle the AI. You know, we're on a designated path following that train line, and nobody's battling anybody, so everybody's in their positions, and that is it for the race. Like, you know, it's really crap for that matter. Thing is though, I did win a suit for completed 10 races in any game mode. Heading over to Spa though, where we're all back on a level playing field. It is raining. Gonna absolutely send it through here. Reiterating the previous point I just made in the last race, where the AI don't battle the AI. You know, everybody's in their set position, and unless a catastrophic event happens or you encourage a car to slow down, even then the AI is dubious about overtaking that car you've just slowed down. And I wish I was recording last night, because I was doing some testing with my dashboard at the bottom right, make some changes and updating it, things like that. And during that testing I was in an AI race just to make sure everything's working correctly, and I didn't realise, but all the AI crashed at Laguna Seca. Well, one AI car crashed and everybody parked up behind them, moving forward and moving backwards, moving forward and backwards, unsure on what to do. And I didn't realise until I came around the corner, because I was testing everything, functions like the flashing of the tyre wears and things like that. And I came around that corner and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's just like watching somebody do a 90-point turn in a car park, and everybody sat there watching that person do it. And that's one of the biggest problems with the AI. They just have no clue when something is out of their path or zinc on what to do. And it's a really big shame, because we're in 2025 now, you know, technology's come a lot further. Oh no, sorry, I did that back. 2026 now. Technology's come a long way, and AI in racing games have not. It's kind of weird really, because it's like a forgotten art, where offline racing used to be the key of everything, like, you know, online wasn't a thing. So back then it had to make the AI as realistic as possible and smarter and more fun to race, but it seems to be now it's not anywhere near what it used to be. Or it's nostalgia, who knows. But either way, we're up to P7, hopefully going to make it P6 and manage to pass this Golf as well. I wonder who's leading the charge here. I think it's an Elantra, because the Lavorgs just aren't there in the wet. Come on, Golf, get power on. Thank you. The Astra did back out, opened the door for us, and away we go. Go on, Hyundai, block the Golf to the right. Ain't you a star? I still don't get why the window's always open on the Veloster. I mean, is the driver really that hot in there all the time? Either way, coming through this section here, everybody in the back brakes, so there's our lead given. Thing is, I should have really thought about this before I came up right behind the Lavorg and guessed that they would be a little bit slow through there, but 1.1 second penalty for overtaking that car. I was hoping they would keep this momentum up. They did brake and then they powered on, but they didn't power on enough, and we carried a lot of momentum. So dived out of the way, getting a 1.1 second penalty for it, but pretty much reckon by the end of this lap we'll be long gone in front of everybody else, hopefully. I mean, the Lavorgs, although are P2 and 3, just don't have it in the wet compared to the front wheel drive cars. Now it's just a charge of trying to catch up to Sloppy Sloth in the Elantra up in front. Now, I think the Elantra is still a very quick car in offline mode. I think it got nerfed in online though, because it was really quick in online. But yeah, the charge after them is not going to be easy. Not only that, we also have to gain a 1.1 second lead upon them to make that overtake count, thanks to the penalty. Which is going to lead me on to a separate point, but a point nonetheless. Penalties. Would it be cool if you have a race that's longer than a short lap race, so we have to pit, that any penalties gained before you pit can be served in the pit itself, and then you come out the other side with a clean leaderboard, and then you can fight your way back? Or do you prefer it the way it is now, and at the end you just calculate it right at the end? I don't know, it came into my head thinking, do you know what, that'd be actually kind of cool that you could serve your time penalty in the pit and be held up. Thing is, we've overtaken the Lavorg now, not the Lavorg, the Elantra. Gonna have it in this next corner here. I reckon they're gonna brake again, which is gonna give us a mountain of time to be ahead of them. And we'll come up to the end of lap 2. Yeah, see the brake, and you can almost take it flat out. You just have to lift ever so slightly, but you know, 1.4 seconds away now. As we come to the end of the race, we're 8.4 seconds away. So whilst I did also back off, there's still unnecessary braking at certain tracks at certain points. But yeah, as we come to the end of this race, I think we're going to win the championship because we've only lost 2 out of the 7 races. Well, P4, 5 and then P2, wasn't it? So points wise, we should have won. Wow, look at that. 8 seconds ahead of everybody else. That's absolutely insane. Yeah, we did win. What did we win? An Audi.